Hello, people, and welcome back once again. This is the latest episode of the Ring Report, and I'm joined by the man himself, Mekz. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. We've been busy. We've got another busy weekend coming up, WrestleDream. So I think we're going to chat some WrestleDream predictions today.
Yeah, we spoke extensively about one of the matches that will be occurring on the cards on the last podcast. So just excited to speak about, because there's a couple of exciting matches there for us to speak about. I want to start with this Darby Allin, John Moxley stuff, man, because it seems like as the years have gone on, Darby Allin and John Moxley just seem to be intertwined within AEW. So I just want to get your thoughts on how you feel like it's going to go and who you think should walk out as the victor, man.
Well, I think I was quite surprised at the last pay-per-view where they had a coffin match and if I remember correctly, Darby lost. So yeah, I to have them running it back, I quit match this time, and both of these guys, they rarely quit. There's been certain situations where I just don't believe Moxie's gonna lose, and then it's always Hangman with that chain, and Hangman goes to choke him out, and that's it. He taps out because he's got a family and everything, and he doesn't want to literally be hung on TV. So yeah, it's always a bit of a funny one with I quit match with these two. I have to think Darby's getting his win back. I have to think nothing makes Darby quit. Like, this guy is, and I hate to get sinister here, he's almost prepared to die. So it's like, yeah, Moxley, we've at least seen there's a chink in his armor that makes him submit or whatever the case is at times. So yeah, I'll say Darby for the win. But Darby, he pulled back the curtain this past week on Ariel Helwani's show. He showed he had got great respect for Moxley. He talked about Moxley being a real locker room leader in AEW. So yeah, this is something I know these two are going to absolutely kill each other, but look after each other at the same time. But yeah, Darby for the win.
Yeah, man, I think you can't really look past Darby for the win here, and I think there would be quite an uproar with fans if Moxley was to get the W, just because I think since Darby's come back, he's sort of been on this horrible streak of losing in these big matches. So I think it almost he needs a W more than the pair of them. I think Moxley's always going to have that sort of that star next to his name, whereas I think for a lot of people with Darby, it's almost like he's almost been there so many times in that upper echelon of AEW. So I think if he's able to finally get this big W at WrestleDream, I think it could really be the thing that pushes him on into the back into the world title picture. And I'll just say, I think there is going to come a time where Darby Allin has to turn heel, and I feel like this could be the start of that sinister side really coming out, which we could end up seeing him turning heel and eventually becoming AEW World Champion.
Darby turning heel would be very, very interesting. I don't know if not that he's got it in him. I don't think it's like going to be like a massive character shift. He just starts doing some more crazy stuff. But at the same time, AEW's for sickos. And if he starts doing crazy stuff, people will like it. So yeah, I don't know.
We hear the chants, man.
Yeah.
You sick F.
Yeah, so I don't really know how you turn him heel, but I don't think it'll be impossible to. But what would be the shifts in his character? Maybe just how he treats the baby faces and stuff. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm still not all there yet with Darby just becoming a world heavyweight champion, because more than anything, it's just his wrestling style. He gets beaten up for far too long in matches and then pulls out a win somehow. Like, that's not a convincing world champion to me. I don't know. Although I like Darby Allin a lot. So yeah, I think in the mid-card, he can become like a multi-time mid-card champion or something. But the world heavyweight title, I'm just not quite sold yet.
No, man. And I think the only time will tell with him. There's a few names on the AEW roster where it's just like, if they don't sort of make that jump up soon, there's going to start to be a lot more question marks raised around him. Someone like a Daniel Garcia, for me, also fits into that category. It's just like, this is almost like, if Darby can't make it work now, where he is so over with fans, I don't think it's ever going to happen, if I'm being honest with you. And I think that's the thing that I'd like to say. And it is just like, I think he's great, but if he doesn't make it happen soon, I think the boat would have sailed with him. I don't think he'll ever end up in somewhere like a WWE, but I don't think he'll be in the, like I said, I don't think he'll be the main event guy a lot of us predicted him to be by this time in his career.
I think he'll get it. I think he would have got it this year, to be honest, if it wasn't for him going to climb Mount Everest. I think he probably would have been the one to beat Moxley for the title. And now we're kind of seeing him and Moxley's story play out now that he's back. I don't think the plan was ever Hangman to win this title. although he's a great champion. So yeah, I guess I'm a bit more optimistic in the sense that he will win it, but I'm pessimistic as to do I want him as my champion. But yeah, only time will tell.
No, and onto the next match, man. What I'm calling the money match: $500,000 cash prize up for grabs.
Because Tony Khan doesn't pay these people.
Yeah,
This is how they get paid. They have to wrestle and win matches. They don't get paid otherwise.
But we've seen Jurassic Express reunite, and Jack Perry. There's been a lot of ups and downs, especially in recent times of his career. He seemed to let's not forget that awful TNT title run, which I was just not a fan of at all, and I don't think many people were. But it seems like pairing up with Luchasaurus seems to have got him back over with the fans. A lot of people are happy. It's no secret of the health troubles that Luchasaurus faced. And it's great to see him back in the ring as well. So I'm a big fan of the Young Bucks, man. I think if you give them any gimmick, any character to play, they will play at 150%. Like, one of my mates turns around to me, was watching AEW recently, and he said to me, he's like, you know what, man? I look at them, I hate them so much. And I was like, bro, you're meant to. And I think that's the what. But when you're supposed to be on side with them, when they're playing the heroic baby phase, they play that role just as well. And I think there's layers to both of those guys. And I think a lot of people speak about the Usos being the greatest tag team of all time, the Hardys, but I don't like, for me, I think the Young Bucks are up there just as much. But on the prediction of this, how do you feel like this match is going to go? Do you feel like Tony Khan's going to be paying out $500,000 to Jurassic Express or the Young Bucks?
I think Jurassic Express, man, they're going to take that money home, and it's going to send the Young Bucks spiraling even further. Like you rightly said, Young Bucks are, for me, easily one of the greatest tag teams ever of all time. I just think they're brilliant. My love for the Young Bucks spans beyond what they do in the ring. I think what they've done for this business, they literally made it very obvious to people. They became millionaires without going to WWE. The Avenue, the Bullet Club t-shirts, the books, everything. Like, I just feel like these guys are real pioneers in the industry from an indie point of view. They just handle their business very well. And of course, what they do in the ring is exceptional as well. I feel like they're at home when they get to play the dorkish kind of heels like they're playing now. That, like, they can be a bit loose, they can be a bit idiotic, and they just have loads of fun. Everything else they're very good at, but this is their bag, like what they're doing now, sort of thing. And yeah, I'll probably go as far as saying nobody does it better than the Young Bucks. And maybe it's that brother chemistry, as well. But yeah, I think Jurassic Express is good to see them back together. I think AEW tried to obviously progress both guys as single stars. Didn't really happen. I don't think maybe there's enough space on the roster to kind of, look into that and get that done. Jack Perry had his woes with CM Punk. A lot of people obviously took sides, some were team CM Punk, some were team Jack Perry. They tried to send him to Japan and rebrand him and called him the scapegoat and stuff. I didn't mind the scapegoat stuff when he returned, but they weren't consistent with it, with his booking. His initial heel turn around the TNT title run, like you mentioned, was horrific. It was hard to watch. But yeah, I think everyone's just ready to kind of invite one of our own back in, someone that came through AEW, and just let's let the good times roll again. Let's forgive him for all the stuff he might have said or might have done and how he behaved. And yeah, let's just give Jurassic Express another opportunity. So yeah, it'll be a good match. I think it'll be a very, very good match. But yeah, I expect Jurassic Express to win.
So another match I want to speak about is Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter is actually someone who we've spoken about previously, but I believe, and I think she's someone who's almost been there a few times as well. It's just like, when's she really going to get her chance? She's recently returned as well. And this match against Thekla, I'm not really, like, it wasn't one of the matches that stand out for me, but I think it could steal the show in a way, because when she is someone who can just get it going in the ring, like, we've spoken about the AEW Women's Tag Team titles, and I think she is someone who could benefit from winning those titles, but I love her as a single star. I think she is very great at what she does. So how do you feel like this match is going to go, and what do you feel like the future holds for Jamie Hayter?
Who do you love as a single star? Hayter?
Yeah.
No, I think Hayter's amazing. I think she's brilliant. Her run as AEW Women's Champion was cut short because of injury, and obviously Toni Storm won it, and Toni Storm hasn't let up since then. She took the ball and ran, as they say. And yeah, Jamie's had a lot of injury issues that kind of, stopped her booking. She's had visa issues, which have stopped her booking. But it looks like now she's, things are a bit stable for her. So I guess unfortunately she has to, I'll say, start from the bottom and work her way up, but by no means Tekla's at the bottom. I think Tekla's great. She's another one that's just come from abroad, come from Stardom, as just mashing up the place. Like in Stardom, for those that may or may not have seen her, I don't think she was anywhere near this good. She just seems very at home here in AEW, which is good. It's good. So I think these are two potential pretenders to the championship in the future. Again, obviously Hayter's already been to the top of the mountain, but I think Tekla, there's a lot there. There's a lot there that they can work with. As for who wins this one, I would assume Jamie Hayter wins. I think if I'm to mark it on my prediction sheet, I'll probably go with Jamie Hayter, but I think it's slim. Like, I know Jamie Hayter had a match with Sky Blue this week on Dynamite. I think I'm still watching that match. I haven't finished that particular match, but I assume Jamie Hayter wins. But yeah, I think it'll be tight, but Hayter will get it done.
Now, I think it's one of the only matches on the card where you can look at both people and you could understand if they won and you can understand if they lost. And I think that's almost a great thing to have in wrestling, because a lot of the time stuff does become very predictable. But when we have matches like this, you've got two talented women in the ring. I feel like this could be a really great match, and I feel like it could end up stealing the show. But on the subject of that AEW Women's World title, Toni Storm is trying to get her title back from Chris Statlander. I just got to give Toni Storm her flowers, man. You literally, do you know what? I think you speak about layers to character. That's something in which, like, I look at her character compared, she was playing almost a punk rocker chick in WWE. It didn't really work out at all. She went to AEW. Since she's gone into this timeless Toni Storm thing, I think she is really cementing her legacy as one of the greats. Like, not just of the current era, but of all time. To have that much commitment to your character and to continually tweak it, going from a heel to a face, and really just understanding what is expected of to be a champion and to hold that title in high regard. She went over for Mariah or Blake Monroe now. And I think this match is another one I think could really steal the show. No one expected Chris Statlander to win the AEW Women's World title. But I think this is another match where we've seen them almost come to blows on Dynamite this week as well. And I'm looking at Toni Storm and I'm just thinking, are they going to give it back to Toni Storm? And that is probably where my prediction is going to lie for this one. Really? I do think it's going to be a short run for Statlander, and timeless Toni Storm is going to get her gold back.
Oh, boy, I didn't even think that was an option, to be honest. So I'm a bit spun now. But you know what? Going back to what you said about character and stuff, I've never, like, since Indies, I've never understood the kind of punk rock thing. I know that might be what she's into, like, as a hobby or whatever, but like as how it like translates to wrestling, I've never kind of understood it. But, even then, NXT UK, they threw a lot at her and gave her all the accolades and stuff. I think she won one of those, what was that women's tournament that they used to do? Mae Young Classic, was it? I think she won one of that as well. Like you said, NXT itself and main roster, nothing really happened. She quit wrestling. When she left WWE, she quit. She said, I'm done with this. And if it wasn't for AEW, God knows where she would actually be right now, to be honest. Because, for more reports, she was in a pretty bad place when she left WWE. And came into AEW still with the punk rocker gimmick. Then, remember, she went with Saraya and stuff, and they were, what were they? Like, I don't know, I can't remember what they were called now. Some, like, Toxic Sisters or some shit. Like, I can't remember what they were called now.
Some creator wrestler 2K. This is like randomized names.
Her, Saraya and Ruby Soho. What were they called? I can't remember. But and then she broke out as Timeless. She had like a breakdown and then she turned to Timeless Toni Storm, and she found herself. Like, women in general don't really tend to do the over the top wrestling characters. That's always kind of just been done by men. And she's absolutely ran with this 4-time AEW Women's Champion. So on your prediction, she's about to become a 5-time champion, which hasn't been done before in AEW by man or woman. I think for now with Statlander, we saw a really happy surprise. Like no one expected Statlander, like you said. Statlander won, and everyone was like, "Oh, fair enough. Like Statlander's a champ. Like she deserves it." And I think to just justify that, you have to stick with her. I think Tony's great, and Tony probably has carried this, but we've got to see a different side of Stat as they've been doing this feud. One of the I enjoyed I think it was Collision when they done like a promo lying down on the mat with each other and were kind of flirting with each other, and then Tony stood up and said, "This is all getting a bit gay, isn't it?" And then she just stood up, and then they started beefing each other. Like yeah, they're doing some good stuff. I think the test for Stat will be once she's done with Tony. And then when she's moving around the other women on the roster, will she still have the same gravitas? Like, I think it's very easy right now to say that Tony's probably carrying this, which she probably is. But yeah, with everything else, can she do it? So I'll go with Stat to retain. I'll be shocked if Tony wins it back. My jaw will be on the ground.
Oh, we'll be talking Sunday, bro. So if I get this one right, you'll be. I'll be holding my psychic hat up and saying, you know what?
I would have eaten your psychic hat as well as my hat. I would, mate. I'll be shocked.
I think it's one of those as well where I wouldn't be annoyed if either woman won, because I think they both like. I wouldn't be annoyed if they give Statlander a long-term run with the title.
Yeah.
But again, you can't really Timeless. You can't really argue with her. Like you can't argue with what she's done for the title, how she's elevated her character and other women on the roster. And some of the women have gone on to other companies now, but it's really great to see what she's done for that women's division. Now, like you said, there was a time when she wanted to retire following leaving WWE. So it's just like to see the level she's at now, and it doesn't seem like that long ago that she even left WWE. And in such a short amount of time, she's gone from this person who didn't want to wrestle to probably being one of the top 3 women's wrestlers in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah. She's gonna be up there when they do the women's kind of rankings for the years and stuff like that. She's definitely gonna be spoken of, and yeah. She just knows her character very, very well. And I feel like AEW, the women's division, as well as AEW, they need these kind of people that are their quote-unquote pillars, as they say in AEW. Like the certain people you can turn to, the Moxleys, Tony Storms, like these people bleed AEW sort of thing. And they definitely got one in Tony Storm.
No, man. And I look to the, on the subject of blood, one thing I do want to speak about is how great Tony Storm has been in getting other people over. Like you said, being a pillar, and I think a lot of people think of a pillar as someone like a John Cena who always manages to get the W, but it doesn't always have to look like that. The adversity, I think, is what makes a lot of people gravitate towards these baby faces. And it's the same with Moxley. Him being a champion for so long and being in the nicest way an absolute wanker whilst he's champion, I think made him losing the title add that much more. So I just want to move on to the AEW World Tag Team Championships, Brodito versus the Don Callis family, because this is actually a match that I'm looking forward to, because I think this is where we finally get the turn. I think if there's ever a time to get this turn done, it has to be, I think, Brodito retain, and I think it finally sets up Okada versus Takeshita.
Oh, this is another one that I'm just like, huh? Like the thing is the drama in Brodito retaining and then the turn happens, or is the drama in Okada and Takeshita win the tag titles and now they have to get on even more? You see what I mean? Like,
oh, see, now you throw the spanner. Like, it was almost like an Uno reverse to me, mate.
like both situations can end up really good. Obviously, big up to Takeshita. He's just won the IWGP title in Japan earlier this week, so he's the top boy in Japan right now. And I think come Wrestle Kingdom on the 4th of January, it's going to be Okada versus Takeshita for the IWGP Championship. So that helps to build it even further. If they win the tag team championships, now they're two guys in a faction that hate each other. You know, Takeshita's got the belt that Okada really brought to light and made famous in the modern era again. And they now have to be tag team champions and face each other in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom for this World Heavyweight Title Championship. Like, I think as a consumer, as a fan, that's the way to go. Maybe that is what they do. I'm trying to think. I think Bandido might have an injury as well.
Yeah, I've seen rumors have been circulating online with that.
So they might take the belt off them. And Hechicero, I think, and Bandido have a match coming up soon as well. So that and obviously Bandido's the Ring of Honor world champion. So Hechicero could win that from him. So that puts more belts into the Don Callis family. I think I might go with Takeshita versus Okada. I'll watch the situation closer into the weekend, but I think that's my pick at this time.
Bro, that is a great prediction because I think if you have the turn up and now, as much as I think it's got to the point, do you know what would be really great is they continuously win as tag team champions, but they just do not get along at all.
Stand each other. Yeah.
And I think, do you know what I think? Before coming over to AEW, I would never have predicted Okada to be as over as a comedy act as he is. Like, for me, if you want to talk about a surprise, his growth into this comedic role has just been absolutely hilarious, man. And I think when you have someone be such a powerful babyface champion or such a heel champion, you never really get to see that side of him. So I think once you get him over to AEW, he has played that role to perfection. And I think they could just, like you said, they could really just amp that up times 100 and just have these guys almost like slap into tag each other and, you know, just continuously hitting the finishes to like show off and be like, I'm the macho here. Like, I think that there's so many things you could do with that. So I think that's a great prediction. I think that's something to look forward to as well. But another member of the Don Callis family in a title match this weekend, Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. How do you feel this is going to go? I know I have my predictions, but what are your thoughts on this, Mekz?
I think... I hate this. I think Kyle Fletcher retains just because he is Kyle Fletcher doing some great work right now. Especially like we just said, if they're going to put all these belts in the Don Callis family, you don't want to lose one. But something just keeps telling me Mark Briscoe has to win. He has to win something. Like, I thought a month ago or two, they were gearing him up at least for a world heavyweight title shot against Hangman. But they've seemingly immediately dropped him down to the TNT title, which is a lot more believable if he wins. But I can't lie, I don't want to see it happen. I'm not invested in that happening. I want Kyle Fletcher to keep the title. I'll go with Kyle Fletcher, but I have a feeling that, you know, this is kind of the big kind of Daniel Bryan wins the title at WrestleMania 30 thing where
you put it on that level if Mark Briscoe is to win the TNT title.
It's not that level, obviously, because it's not a world title, but I just think it's the big kind of he won the Ring of Honor world title, I think last year or 2 years ago, and did nothing with it, sort of thing. But I think this is now within AEW more. I just think they're working towards something with Mark Briscoe, and he's an enjoyable baby face which bleeds and tries his hardest. So at some point that needs to be paid off, and I think the TNT title is a safe place to pay that off. I just don't want it to come at the detriment of Kyle Fletcher. If what's his name that we talked about earlier, Jack Perry, was the TNT champion, I'll say run it. Take the belt off him. Give
Slap
it to Mark Briscoe. Yeah. But I don't want it to come at the detriment of Kyle Fletcher at this time when the Don Callis family is actually building. I'll go with Fletcher, but I have a sneaking suspicion Mark Briscoe might get it done.
I think, for me, I'll keep it short and sweet on this one, man. I think Fletcher's retaining. I think he's going to go. I think he's going to hold that title for a long time until we start to push towards him into the world title scene. I think that guy is very much one of the, we're talking about pillars, one of the future pillars of AEW. And I think he's someone who has been so closely aligned with Will Ospreay. I think those are the two people. If you're looking at a dream match for the world title at some point for Kyle Fletcher, you can't look past Will versus Kyle for that title. But there's other matches on the card that I want to get into. The biggest one, the Hurt Syndicate versus the Demand. For me, I think we're talking about layers to character. Ricochet, I have never wanted someone to get punched in the face so regularly in my life. He's someone who didn't really get his fair shot in WWE at times. But I feel like now, once he's been put into this faction, things are going really great for him. But how have you, I know you're someone who has enjoyed the run he's been on in terms of his character work, but how do you feel like the match is going to go? What do you feel like the future holds for Ricochet within AEW?
I think Ricochet has a lot of potential. It's just like, for him right now, like my biggest issue with him leaving WWE is he going to AEW to win a world title? And I can't see that happening. Like, so what is he going for? Some more mid-card accolades? And sometimes, like I've learned, you know, I hold my hand up and I say I learned this. It's a case of you're just going to be booked better. Like the belts and stuff may not actually mean much to you. Yeah, they're nice, but you just want to have some more consistency in your booking. And I think that's definitely what he's getting with AEW. With now he's got the Demand, his faction around him and stuff like that. He looks good, man. I think it works. I don't really understand this feud at this point, if I'm being honest, though, because yeah, they costed Hurt Syndicate the tag titles. I think that was in London at Forbidden Door. Then they had a tag match. They've had a street fight, a trio street fight, and this is now a trios match, like regular match as well. So maybe even as they've kind of told the story, they should have maybe built to the street fight. Why have you had a street fight and now you're just having a trios match afterwards? You see what I mean? Like, and they've kind of pinned the previous loss on MVP because MVP was pinned. Then Shelton was pinned in a tag match on Dynamite this past week. I would assume Hurt Syndicate win here, but if the rumors are true and they want to add somebody into the Hurt Syndicate, I guess Hurt Syndicate should be losing so that they can have a reason to add somebody. You see what I mean? Maybe we're not as strong as we thought we are. Maybe we need to add to the team. I'm going to go with the Hurt Syndicate for the win. But like I said, it kind of feels like they're telling this story backwards. Like the pages of the book are not in order, basically. But yeah, I'll go with Hurt Syndicate to win.
No, I think Hurt Syndicate kind of have to win this one, even though I think it does come to the point where MVP eventually gets turned on by these guys. I think
by
that's
the Hurt Syndicate.
Not during this match. I think in the future, I think that's how they have to go with this, because I think, they've always spoken about it on Wrest Things, man. Shelton, bloody Benjamin,
world
bro.
class.
What a
world class.
The gold standard. Yeah,
the world class.
Like
guy.
As a guy who barely got a chance in his return to WWE, I think he's someone who could really benefit from the Hurt Syndicate breaking up in the future. I don't think it's going to be soon. I think they need to add another member. The one thing I will say is, like, I agree with you in the sense of I don't really understand Ricochet's faction. I don't really understand what their goal is. I don't understand what they're trying to do with Ricochet, because it's like, even if they were to win this match, where do they go next? And that's a question which we always raise. What is next? So I think for that reason, I have to go with the Hurt Syndicate, man. And I think they're doing. I think they could be adding the fourth member in this match. It could be one of the members of the Demands end up turning on Ricochet and joining them, but then it wouldn't really make much sense. But I think that it's almost like the good and the bad about this match is so much could happen and so much could not happen. But it's just like most of it doesn't really make much sense, because it's just like, again, it always raises a question of spot sex, because I don't think these guys need to be facing us anymore. I think after this match, this has to be the bow cut on it, the ribbon, and just avoid each other at all costs. Move them onto different shows if you need to, because again, the one thing we go into WWE for is repetitive booking. We don't need to see the same trios and tag matches every single pay-per-view.
If the Demand win again and win by pinning MVP again, that's when I expect the next story beat to be, right, MVP saying, I've lost us 2 matches. I don't think I'm up to this anymore. I'm going to go and look for young blood to put into this faction to help you guys, because I don't want to make the Hurt Business weak, the Hurt Syndicate weak. I'm clearly the issue here. So if the demands make that happen and MVP's pinned, then cool. That's got to be the next part of the story. Like, because otherwise, what are we doing? Where are we going, like you said?
No, man, I think that's a great way to put it, because I think MVP, he's not a young man anymore. And I think he'll get to a stage where I don't think he can really continue doing these high-level matches. Even with Bobby Lashley isn't getting any younger. Like, it's a group of veterans, to be honest with you, but Shelton Benjamin is the top of that class at the moment. He seems to be putting on banger matches whenever he gets the opportunity. But onto the final match, and something in which we've spoken about in very high regard, and someone involved in this match who probably took up more time of our last podcast than he needed to, but we just had to get it off our chest, it seemed like. Hangman versus Samoa Joe, the match that came out of nowhere and has delivered so much in terms of promos and build over a very short amount of time. We said it, but I said it last week. I don't think Samoa Joe wins this, but there's a part of me that would absolutely love it if he does.
100%, and I'm with you with that. Just to add to the previous Samoa Joe glazing, I saw this past week that Tony Schiavone has spoken very highly on him, saying that he's just like such a good professional, that other people backstage will tell them to come and cut a promo, cut a vignette or something like that, and they'll be like, oh, I need to go and do this first, I need to go and change, I need to go catering, I need to do this. But Samoa Joe just comes immediately, he just listens, he gets things done, he's brilliant in obviously what he gives them to work with as well. So yeah, that's just a bit of Tony Schiavone just saying, I guess, agreeing with us just how great this guy is. I haven't finished watching Dynamite from this week, in terms of, I know Samoa Joe and the rest of the Ops, they defended, or were going to have a title defense against against LFI, I think it is. And Hangman's going to be on commentary. So I expect some fireworks somewhere within that match segment, whatever. But yeah, I think Hangman to retain. This is just going to be kind of fun in between feud. Samoa Joe's going to have his kind of hope spots and come close and stuff like that. But I think, yeah, you got to stick with Hangman. It's where we are right now. But if you want to do something very surprising and something that the fans will still eat up, like you said, Samoa Joe is a very believable champion any day of the week. So you can do it. It's definitely like I said, I think I said this on last week's show, smash glass in case of emergency and give the title to Joe, if anything goes wrong. So yeah, but I think on this occasion, Hangman retains.
I think he does retain, but after Statlander winning the women's title, I think anything is possible in wrestling. And I think if there's anyone who's going to make that decision to, like you say, break glass in case of emergency and put the title on Samoa Joe, I think AEW would do it. But I think you said it last week, you wouldn't want to meet him even in a grocery store. If he pushes in front of you, go ahead. I will wait patiently.
Yeah.
So I think, like you said, he is a believable champion as well. And I think we're just at a time now where we've got so much positive promos coming out of AEW. I think it's you've said it before, and it's said all the time, is AEW is where the best wrestle, which is a lot of the time a fair point to make.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it just seems to be where they're really selling things with promos. And I think I look at Tony Storm and Chris Statlander, I look at the Hangman and Samoa Joe stuff. Promos sell matches more so than any sort of rivalry is. If we think about the best promos of all time, they've ended up selling some of the greatest matches that we've ever been lucky enough to see. So I think I'd love to see Samoa Joe win this, but even for the promo that they had against each other last week, I think this is going to be a rivalry we look back and almost as like the enjoyable one, like you said. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think Samoa Joe is going to win the title, but I think, like you said, it's going to be almost like a filler feud. But in the end, Hangman will win. But I think this will only cement further how respected and how great Samoa Joe is.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good little he's a good person that you can just plug in and, like we say, believe at any time, any point that he wants the world title and he could win the world title. So you do need those kind of members of your roster as well. But yeah, I think on this occasion, it's Hangman's. Hangman gets the win.
One more question before we get out of it, Mekz. Who would you like to see Hangman feud with next?
That's interesting. I mean, I don't really. I'm trying to think of who's around. Like, obviously, a lot of
There's
heels.
no one that stands out.
Yeah, there's a lot of heels in the Don Callis family. Like, even Carl Fletcher, when he faced Carl Fletcher last month or so, that was kind of impromptu because I can't remember who they said. Someone else wasn't injured or available or something like that.
Was it Kenny?
Maybe I can't remember. Kenny Omega's a shout. Kenny Omega's a shout. He's obviously lost his unified title. Going in towards the end of the year, they could do Hangman and Kenny. Hangman beat Kenny at Full Gear back in 2020, I want to say, if I've got my timeline correct. And Full Gear is their next pay-per-view in November. So they could do it like, almost like Hangman returns the favor. Kenny wants to get the world title back. This is X amount of years on from when Hangman beat Kenny for it. Kenny's a good shout, to be completely honest.
No, I think with Kenny Omega as well, it seems like the injury troubles just seem to be following him, and not being 100%. So I think if there's ever a time to put him back into the world title scene one last time, I think it'll be a great shout to do it now. But Mekz, is there any other points you'd like to make about WrestleDream? Anything, or do you feel like there's going to be any turns or surprises during this? Because I know you like to say bells and whistles. You love all the bells and whistles, man. So, what's your bells and whistles prediction for WrestleDream, bro?
I don't know. I think with the branding of WrestleDream, it's just kind of dream matches or just stellar bouts. I don't really see any opportunity for a lot of cheating, a lot of bells and whistles and things that take place. I think like a lot of these matches are just going to be down the line sort of thing. We've got Blood and Guts coming up soon, which I guess is a big stipulation match. So maybe they just leave all the shenanigans till then. But yeah, I think we're just going to get some really good wrestling this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. And then, as always, the fallout and then what happens next.
No, I think the fallout's going to be the most interesting thing from this because a lot of these matches, like you said, are unpredictable. Where it's a lot of the world title ones seem to be a lot more predictable. But for the lower matches on the card, such as with Jamie Hayter, this could almost. It all depends on how these matches go to how the next few weeks and they're going to lead up into the new year for them within AEW. But Mekz, it's a pleasure as always, my brother.
Yeah, bro.
We'll be speaking on Sunday again following this. And like I said to you, if Timeless Tony Storm wins, you'll be eating your hat around 8 p.m. live on YouTube on Sunday.
100%,
man. But Mekz, where can the guys find you, man?
Yeah, man, WrestleManiac UK and all the social media platforms. Tap in with us. We're going to start putting out some like question threads and hot takes and stuff so we can get you guys a bit more involved as well in what we're talking about. So look out for those.
Yes, and if there's any subjects you want us to speak about, let us know in the comments as well. We enjoy doing these, and we like getting you guys involved as much as we can because I know there's so many things to speak about in wrestling. I wish we could sit for 6 hours and just continuously speak, but I think people probably get bored of us speaking for 6 hours. But my name is Del Tefik. You can find me on my socials as well. Thanks as always, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one soon.